Okay, hello. Welcome to another episode of Zero10 Podcast. And we have Andy here with me. We're together today, which is nice,
Good morning.
in the same place. And then we have a guest today, Tiffany Krumm, a childhood friend, a one-room schoolhouse classmate, and then, lots of time together as kids. But then we've reached around and came back together in the last 10 years of our lives. So
It's
um,
true.
it is true. So we're very, very thankful for you to take the time, Tiff, to come and chat with us.
Yes, thanks for asking me too.
Yes. Okay, so let's start by just like tell us a little bit about yourself and where you're at right now.
Sure, that's the tip of the iceberg.
That's right.
Like you said, my name is Tiffany, and I have a career in home health and hospice with CHI Health at Home here in Bismarck, and I'm a wife of a husband that's a farmer and a rancher and an electrician, and I'm a mother to three beautiful daughters. Eleanor is 8, Iris is 5, and Aria is 1. She'll be 2 in November. And my eldest daughter, Eleanor, was diagnosed with stage 3, group 3 rhabdomyosarcoma cancer last year.
Yeah, so
So
you've had a year.
we've had a year. Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that where we are today is a good day. Today's a good day.
Yeah.
It's kind
Yeah.
of how you have to take it, isn't it? A day at a time, even sometimes a moment at a time.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes it is like that.
Yeah.
And to be honest, you go from you have to kind of mourn your old self that was just like expecting the long-term things to happen, and now you're begging for those long-term things to happen. You mourn the idea that you used to just know your kid was going to go to a homecoming dance one day, and that your daughter was going to get her driver's license, and then you go from begging for those things to happen someday. So today's a good day. I can't say tomorrow what tomorrow will be, but I do know today is a good day.
Yeah. How did how'd that all start? Can you talk about, or is that okay to talk about that? Like
Yeah.
I mean, because I think so many parents, would need to hear your story and how you fought for your child.
Yeah. So I'm just going to say the way that it is. The truth is I didn't smoke or drink while I was pregnant. I did not. I tried to eat well. I exercised with all 3 of my pregnancies. I breastfed all 3 of my babies over a year. I we do take the regular vaccines, nothing too crazy, just what they have to have. We eat healthy, we stick to nap schedules, we go to church, we have them in all of the different things, volleyball, basketball, itty bitty sports. I can say my husband and I have done all that we could to be quote unquote good parents and raise them to be a healthy child. My kids didn't grow up drinking pop. My kids, I don't,
I know who your
Eleanor.
mom is.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what? I'm grateful she raised me that way.
I know.
We just worked really hard to try to instill that in our kids. And Eleanor has always been a very healthy kid. Just never really ever sick. Now, colds, sure, she'll get a cold every once in a while, but she rarely ever missed school, nothing like that. And then in April of that would be 2023, she got influenza A, because it was going around. And so that was like the first time she'd ever been sick. And I had just had a new baby. And so we wanted to keep her away from that baby to keep her from getting sick. And so we just worked really hard. We thought things got better. And then that turned into she also had a strep. So she'd never had strep before. So that was strange. So we got on an antibiotic, probably the first one that she's really ever had. And she was 7 years old. So she took that antibiotic, and it wasn't maybe a month later, she had an ear infection. Her ear was hurting. So we took her in. They said, that's an ear infection. I said, we just took an antibiotic. Shouldn't this take care of it? And they said, no, you didn't take one for an ear infection. Okay. During that time, she still had a cough. The cough was lingering longer than I wanted it to. So a month later, I said, I want a chest x-ray. She's still coughing. Her ear is hurting again. I want blood work done. I'm not accepting another antibiotic. Well, that was difficult. They didn't want to do it. They did it, and everything came back normal. They thought maybe she had a little walking pneumonia at one point, but everything looked good on the x-ray. Blood work was perfect. So another antibiotic. Then it went away, and that's the thing, is it would go away a little bit, and then it would come back. Finally, another ear infection was happening again. And I just told Derek, I said, I won't accept this anymore. We've got to get into ENT. Well, in, where we live, you don't get to see the same doctor every time. It's a different one every time. And every single one says antibiotic, antibiotic. So by the grace of God, we just happened to see our regular pediatrician. And I just told her, I said, I'm not leaving here with another antibiotic. You need to help us. Get us into ENT. And she goes, well, I have a personal friend at ENT, so I'll call her. Got us in that day. And that person, we did a hearing test, and she was already starting to lose hearing in that ear. And they said, we need to get a tube in. So that was we thought, okay. And I said, wasn't it strange that this 7-year-old has an ear infection after never having them, and now she has them back to back? This doesn't seem right. They just said, yep, that sometimes happens. The doctor, the ENT, was some locum guy from Fargo or from Florida. So had no ties here, was coming and going, doing tubes and leaving. So nobody to truly ever follow up. And he came in and he was like, yep, we'll just do the tube. So when we get in there, I just said, I was like, well, her other ear is completely clean. Can you just only do a tube in one? And he said, yes. So went in, came out, and he said, I have good news and bad news. Good news is I only did one tube because the other one was perfect. I shaved her adenoids because they needed to be, and her ear is full of polyps. He said, that's okay. It's probably an infection. So what we're going to have to do is more antibiotics, and we're going to have to hit it with a hard steroid. If we can get these polyps go away on their own, then she doesn't have to have a really difficult surgery that opens up the jawbone and the back of the ear. And I thought that was the worst thing in the world. I remember leaving there bawling, worrying that's what we were going to have to do. We get home and she felt better. Her ear felt better. But that night she fell asleep. And when she woke up, she was in a dead sweat. Like I'd never seen her have a night sweat before. And she was soaked to the bed. So I called the doctor immediately and I said, she has a night sweat, something's wrong. And he said, oh, it's just because of the anesthesia she took. So a couple of days later, she went to school, her first day of school. Things were better. She felt better. Then over the weekend, she started not being able to open her jaws wide, I noticed. And her ear was starting to hurt again, and she was getting a headache. This was all within a day or two. I could start seeing that there was swelling happening in her jaw. So I called in, and of course, the ER doc said, unless she's bleeding from her ear, an ENT is not going to see her. So we called Fargo and asked if an ENT, we could see her quick. And they said no. So we just took her in. We took her into the ER, and they admitted her and wanted to put more antibiotics in. I said I wanted a CT scan. I wanted to see what was going on. A new ENT had come since the last one who did her tubes. This doctor saw the tumor, the circle on the CT scan, and told us that's infection. We're safe. That's infection. Derek was happy to hear that. I wasn't. I screamed, I bawled, I cried. I said, get us to Fargo. So the doctors came in and they just were like, we're just, let's give this antibiotic time to work. And I could see it swelling before my eyes. And I said, no, I won't accept it. So they sent her scans off to Fargo Sanford and they said that their oncology took a look at it. So they put us in a little room, and it was crazy because our pastor was actually there speaking to Derek for a little bit. And we went right into this little room. He waited outside, and I knew because all of the doctors were crying. They were all crying. And they just said, Fargo looked at the scans and they believe it to be a malignant tumor. And exactly what you think you would feel is what you felt. I was terrified I was going to lose my kid. So we got into the ambulance, Eleanor and I, and we drove to Fargo. And from there, we met with oncology and we met with infectious disease, praying and hoping that that's what it was when I knew it wasn't. And the ENT did 2 core biopsies on her. And when he came out, he bawled and held us. And he said, I'm sorry, this was an infection and that she has cancer. So trying to keep that from her until we knew what it was really hard. And it was closing more and more to where she couldn't really talk very good. The pain was so bad that she couldn't sleep. I could see her fading before my eyes. So it was in the middle of harvest, and Josie knows that that's when farmers make their living. That's it. And I called my dad and I said, you got to turn off the combines and you got to come to Fargo because I don't know what's going to happen next. So my brother and his kids and my dad and my husband's family, who is also, in the field, turned off everything and went to Fargo. And the doctors just said, we don't know what this is. We know it's aggressive in nature and that it's already invaded her jawbone and that it's crawling down her face. One oncologist looked at me and said, take her home, get her comfortable, and wait for the everything to come back, pathology. And I looked at her and I said, I can't take this kid home. She's in so much pain. How can I take care for her? And I just looked at Derek and I said, get us out of here. I'm getting us out of here. So I called St. Jude. I called Mayo. I called MD Anderson. And I said, I want out. I want out of Fargo. And I want somewhere where whatever this is, they're going to be able to handle it. So we 5 very difficult days in Fargo waiting to find out what this was. And they came back, the initial reports said a spindle cell type tumor that they believed to be rhabdomyosarcoma. The oncologist came in and said, I'll start chemo right now. I'll start it right now, today. Let's start it today. And I said, okay, but we don't even know for sure that's what this is. That's just initial reports. And I was like, is this the best type? Do you know what type this is? Is it alveolar? Is it embryo? He said, we don't know. Let's just get started. So I just said, I want out. How do you get me to Mayo? And he said, well, the VAC protocol treatment has an 80% chance of your daughter becoming infertile. So we can do something called an oophorectomy. Well, they'll take one of her ovaries and cryogenically freeze it in case there's a chance that someday they can do something with IVF. Mind you, they just told me she has rhabdomyosarcoma, my 7-year-old. It's like you have to make impossible decisions in that second and you can't wait. So I said, where do we do the oophorectomy? They said they don't do it here. They only do it at Mayo. I said, all right, let's go. So that night we got in the car and we got to drive her in our own car all the way to Mayo, and we got admitted. And I had looked into a doctor. Her name was Dr. Wendy Allen Rhodes. She is one of the top leaders in the field of rhabdomyosarcoma in the Midwest, maybe even in America. And I stalked her and I was creepy and I looked her up and I found out we have Facebook friends the same. And I had a friend that I went to high school with that is a doctor there that helped me get a hold of her. And we made it happen. So we got there and we had to wait even longer for more pathology to come back because Sanford sent the wrong pathology to Mayo. So I had to watch my kid suffer more, lose more weight, not be able to sleep, not be able to eat. It was really hard. But that finally came in and they said, yes, it's rhabdo, it's embryonal, this is stage, this is what we believe. Let's start today. So we started chemotherapy there, and we were there for close to a year. We did proton beam radiation therapy straight to her middle ear and her jaw on her face. And we did 40 weeks of that chemotherapy protocol, which has been the same protocol for rhabdomyosarcoma since the 70s because they don't have enough money to get something better for our kids.
Wow.
So that was the beginning of the
Yeah.
end, really, you know.
Yeah. Well, and she's home now.
She's home right now. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It was difficult. I knew we needed to stay there because complications from VAC are serious, whether that's bladder failure to neutropenia that can cause liver damage and everything. So I wanted to be right where we needed to be, which was where the best of the best was. And there was a few times when we had to go into the ER when we had reactions. And yeah, at midnight, there was pediatric oncology, pediatric surgery, pediatric hematology, all in that room at 11:30 at night with all eyes on Eleanor. And if we would have came back to Bismarck, if we would have been in Fargo, it wouldn't have been like that. So we did what we had to do to get the best for her the first chance we could.
I remember talking to you. Well, we Marcoed, right? So
Yeah.
Marco Polo is an app that saves a lot of time and missed calls.
It does.
It really
Snapchat
does.
it goes away, and
Like
then when you
too
lose it
fast. I need to
once,
see it again.
yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so through a Marco Polo, you just said one time, because I was like, can I come visit? And you're like, you know what? This is about Eleanor. It's not about me. I want you here. Yes. And so how did like when it came to priorities, I mean, it seems obvious, but I'm sure your heart felt like you needed some people around you supporting you. So how did that all work out for you? Like, how
Right.
did you handle it?
So when you're put through a traumatic experience, and this can be anybody who has felt any type of trauma, I can guarantee, and you know, working in hospice, I've seen this over and over and over and over again at the people at the end of their life. What's the most important thing, or what is put into perspective? And you think you know, but until you're put into it, you don't know. 1000% your life's focus completely change. Your career, your goals, your social life absolutely mean nothing if you don't have your family or a healthy body. Like poof, overnight, something that I've spent 37 years at that point, 38 now, completely focusing on and believing that this is what the most important thing is, I didn't care about anymore. So all I wanted was my kid. All I wanted was survival for my child. So for her, that VAC chemotherapy treatment is extremely difficult. Also, the survival rates for rhabdomyosarcoma really are not that great, like close to 70%. 70%. And you hear that, you think, oh, that's not so bad. 70% with a relapse rate of like 38%. And 70% is if you get rid of it the first time. If it relapses, it gets down to like less than 10% chance of survival. And you don't want to like live that way, but you do, because that's reality and that's the facts. And people so badly just want to focus on, well, that's a good number. If I had to use that number in the lottery, I would. It's like, you know what? It's not good. You want 100%. You want 99%. So for me, nothing else mattered. So, her immune system was going to be completely shot. So we had to do everything we could. That meant completely socially isolating. Keeping my kids together and my family together, I felt like was probably the best thing that we could do. And it turned out to be the best thing. So that meant no supports. Like Ronald McDonald could not handle more than one child. They give you like 2 beds. And so I knew I needed to keep my baby, who I was still breastfeeding, and my 4-year-old along. And so we rented a home, and by the grace of God, we found one in time they were willing to fully furnish for us. That came at a large cost. But at that time, you don't care. You're just going to do whatever it takes. Then my husband, who, was self-employed, had to make sure that he kept working, which meant that I was going to need help. And my mother stepped up and said, I'm willing to give a year of my life to be there for you. And then when my mom needed to leave, which she did sometimes, she left once a month, usually for about a week, sometimes 2, depending. My mother-in-law would come. And I loved living with my mother-in-law. I know you're maybe not supposed to say that, but I did. Sometimes better than I liked living with my husband. She helped more and did laundry and made good food. It was great. So I do not overlook that at all. Getting to do that. I know I looked room after room, gantry after gantry of these families that didn't have a grandma be able to stay with them and didn't have a husband that could work. I carry our insurance. One of the first calls I made when I couldn't sleep at Fargo, when we found out that Eleanor's cancer was aggressive, but we didn't know what. I called the director here. Her name is Karina, and she helped me get this job. And I said, my kid has cancer. We don't know what. And I carry our insurance, and I'm so scared I'm going to lose everything. What do I do? And she said, don't you worry about a thing. I will make sure you are taken care of and that you have a job and that you have insurance. Get to Mayo. She said, get to Mayo and I'll take care of the rest. That is unbelievable. And she did that. God provided in so many ways. And one of those ways was through Karina Rawl. She not only did that and kept me on a list probably longer than she should have to get to stay on leave, but she also helped put on a benefit for Eleanor here in Bismarck, back in Bismarck at the Eagles. And she's going through a cancer diagnosis herself.
Wow.
And she provided for us. So yeah, forever
It's
grateful
amazing,
for that.
the people that get laid in our lives and you don't know why they're there or whatever, but somehow it kind of wraps around and comes back.
God provides. Yeah. And that's what one of my best friends said to me too. She was like, God is going to provide. I know you can't see it, but he's going to. And he did by the cancer not metastasizing. He did by her getting embryonal instead of alveolar rhabdo, which is scary to know there's even worse ones. He did by helping us find that home and having a husband that could work so we could afford that home there. He did by letting my mother and mother-in-law help us. He did. The amount of miracles that I have, I can't even fit on a page, but I'd love to, if anybody ever wants to talk about them, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
Tell you them
Like
all.
my pen out, we'll write you a book, Tiff.
Yeah.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
So I would just say that having my mother there and my mother-in-law help, and I have friends that live in Rochester, but they were only supportive in knowing that they couldn't be around Eleanor and that they could help us from afar, and they did.
Nice.
So yeah.
Good. Well, now we got all of our tears out, maybe a little bit. Just can't believe it. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
And it's like you said, there's stuff coming up that we just need to continue to pray for, right?
Yes. So Eleanor will have, because of the high relapse rate of rhabdomyosarcoma, Eleanor will have a CT chest done and an MRI of her head and neck every 3 months in Rochester for the next 5 years.
Okay.
Because the relapse rate is so high. So we will do that. And this is her the first one. And it's so funny. any cancer mom and dad can say. It's such a strange thing. You feel guilty when your kid is doing well. And the reason why is because all you see is death. You see so much death in these kids that are right next to you in these rooms, and these families that are fighting the same fight as you. And so and then you also see the ones that are doing so well with the rug pulled out from under them. So you're just like, when is that going to happen to me? And so, yeah, it's hard. You want to focus on the good, and you want to be grateful for every day. But I am so freaking greedy, guys. I want more. I want it all. I don't just want 3 months. I want it all. So to say that I'm not scared would be a lie. I will be for the rest of my life, but I try. I'm a sinner. I'm such a sinner that I won't listen to God's word. And God's words are to not be anxious about anything, and to give everything in prayer, and to give it up with thanksgiving, and let your requests be known to God. And He wants to take care of me, and He wants to take care of Eleanor because He loves her. But I'm a sinner, so it's easy for me to just be afraid.
Yeah.
Yeah. So working on that every day. I'd like to say that I have the corner market on suffering, and I'm no longer suffering, and I'm positive, and I've got it figured out, but I don't think you ever will. I think it's going to be a constant journey on my relationship with my Father, my God, and just trying to find the balance between sweet suffering and just like gratefulness and happiness.
Yeah.
So, I think that's a hard thing to walk as a Christian, because we talk the talk, right? And then when it comes down to it, and you have to actually walk the walk and put your faith there and trust in the outcome regardless of which way it goes, it's a really, really a hard thing to do. So
You hit the nail on the
I
head.
guess for me personally, I think it's easy to do it when you're not in trials. And then the trial comes, and you have to follow through with your faith and with your word. And that's where the hard part comes in.
You're so true. That is so true. Josie knows I have had a cush life.
Yeah, right.
There's nothing easier for me to be than a follower of Jesus Christ, because I have wonderful parents and a loving family and a good job and 3 healthy girls and a husband. And boy, my most difficult thing in my life was my husband bugging me. That was about it. Otherwise, I could handle it.
Right.
And I'll tell you what, I did try to do it without God. I was so angry.
Yeah.
Why would He do this to me? Why would He do this to her, the one who loves Him the most? Why would He do this to my innocent daughter? So yeah, I did. I chose to try to do it myself.
Yeah.
And then, and it was going okay to be angry. Boy, you feel pretty powerful when you're angry. And then one night, Eleanor got a fever, and we looked at her stomach, and there was a ring around her belly button. It was getting bigger and bigger. And I called and sent a picture, and they said, bring her in. We came in, and they were like, well, this could be the tumor growing, and it could have spread to her torso. And so we're going to do a scan quick. We're going to bring in surgery. This is 11:30 at night. And our fresh bald heads. And and I just was like, this is just beginning. And I thought I had a grasp on this. So in the ER at St. Mary's in Rochester, Minnesota, I went into the bathroom, and on my hands and knees, and my elbows to the floor and my cheek to the tile, bawled and begged God to help me. And I said, I can't do this alone. I thought I could, and I can't. You are the great physician. Please, God, don't let this spread. Please take care of her. And I will give it up. I will give up this fight. And I will know that it's all you, and that I will dedicate my life to serving you in the way that's best for you and the ones that you love, your people. So I walked out. The doctors came back and said, we got all the tests. It's just cellulitis. No big deal. I said, what? They said, yeah, what has she been up to the last few days? I said, oh, well, we went swimming. Oh, did you go in a hot tub? Yes. Don't do that. She had a stitch from her oophorectomy from a month before. And I said, it just got infected. It's just cellulitis. It's no big deal. She's going to be fine.
Ugh. Well,
I still had a little bit of probably emergency room bathroom pee
Yeah.
right.
on my cheek.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, God, I hear you. I hear you.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry. And he could take it. He took it.
Yeah.
And after that, it was just like, all right, I cannot do this alone. And I couldn't.
Yeah.
So, and I still can't. And he's here, even when I feel so scared, he's here. And he's loving on Eleanor, and Eleanor loves him. She has never waxed and waned. Only me, not her.
Yeah.
So, yeah, what you hit the nail on the head. It was the easiest thing for me to be a Christian. And can I tell you the hardest thing? Loving others for real. If you really are doing it, it's extremely hard.
Yeah.
So if you're like, this is so easy. I love going help at the soup kitchen. I give my old clothes to the mustard seed. And, a neighbor had surgery, so I brought over a meal. I love it. It's so fun. It's great. You know what? That's great, but that's not the real work. The real work is really hard, makes you feel uncomfortable. And like you sometimes wonder if you really want to be a follower of Jesus, because it's really, if you're doing it for real, it's really hard.
It's really hard, but it's where you really learn the best lessons. It's where you really
1000%.
grow and become closer to who we're supposed to be.
Yeah.
Which I don't know, it feels unattainable most days to become
Yeah.
that, but it's where you get stronger and closer and farther away at the same time. It's all of the things,
It's the only way you'll actually feel close to God.
Yes.
That's it. You don't even really know. He's been waiting for you. His arms are wide open.
Right.
And in the Bible, it talks about how those who suffer are actually closest to God. That you don't meet God at the top of the mountaintop. You meet him in the valley.
Right.
Where you think you're alone.
Right.
That's where you meet him. And he's been waiting for you your whole life. And now it's time to live. Now it's time to figure it out.
Right.
I still do a lot of bargaining, the bad, sinful stuff that you're not supposed to do. Like, God, just do this for me. Or don't do this to me, God, or I'll never, back and forth. And then I stop. And it's like, okay, all right, I hear you. I know you're here. And yeah, he's given me the best gift, which was that I got to drive home with all 3 girls in my car singing songs rather than 2, which for a while, that's what we thought we were going to have. And I get to lay out 3 pairs of pajamas at night, and I get to put 3 toothbrushes away in the morning instead of 2, because that's what could have happened. And so today's a good day. Today's a good day.
Today's a good day.
Yeah. Yeah.
This was wonderful. I just appreciate it so much. You got on here. Are you speaking out, or like, I've seen you on a few different things. North Dakota Today. She's a singer, by the way, everybody.
Wow.
We haven't even got into the other stuff, but this message was so good. We'll hop on another call someday and talk about all the other things. But
sounds good. Yeah. I know
yeah.
it's tough. It's hard to not just spew it out. But like there's so much that I've learned that I don't know what to do with all of it. I don't know what to do with it. What caregiver burnout and good health care providers versus bad, or, prayer and faith. And oh my gosh, the list just goes on and on about what I've seen and what I've learned. And I want to share it. And I feel like I'll never stop learning it. It's just been cracked wide open now. And I'm really cracked open to other people's pain. Something that I used to think that I was so like I was empathetic. No,
Different level now.
not until you feel it and see it yourself,
Yeah.
But
How do you stop it? Just, I know we need to wrap it up, but how do you stop it from being your entire identity?
good question. I have absolutely let it consume me at times. I think it's just going to take time.
Yeah.
So one of the another thing on here that I actually talk about is how to get support, the difference between walking a fine line of helping your child and being consumed. And there's nobody is going to just sit back and take care of it all for you. So you do have to do the research. So when I did that research, a big part of it is being a part of rhabdomyosarcoma support groups. And I found some of the most amazing people and tips that I needed for my kid to not end up having a G tube, being able to get through, radiation with the mouth sores and how to deal with it, bleeding from the eyes and knowing what to do. I mean, I got these answers and help from this group, but guess who mostly talks on this group? The people who are doing the worst. So that's all you see. And you start seeing that, and then you do become consumed by it. I have had to learn to utilize it when I need it. And that's it. And to drop it for the rest. It's the same with, I believe, all the cancer stuff. You need to utilize it best that you can, support it, and let it go. Otherwise it's a new child every day being diagnosed and a new child passing away every day. And that's the reality. And I do think with September was Childhood Cancer Awareness Month. And I do think before, I don't know about you guys, but I would see something like this on Facebook and I would go past it because I couldn't. I can't hear it. I can't see it. I can't. Yes, you can.
Yeah.
And you should, because it's your kid's second grade classmate. It's your kid's cousin. It's your kid.
Yeah.
We had 6 diagnosed in Bismarck just last year. 6. It's going to be 7 next year. It's going to be 8 the year after. This isn't going anywhere. So we need to stand up together, be aware, and help each other, and not get consumed, but learn what you need to learn for yourself and for your loved ones. Yes.
Yeah.
It's a hard balance.
There's a lot more that could be spoken about. So maybe we schedule a part 2 at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be great.
Sure.
But
I'm sure people are going to be like, well, that was depressing. Well,
but the
you know what?
vulnerability of it is really important. And so thank you for that.
Yeah, no, thank you for just wanting to shine a little light on it all. And honestly, today is a good day. I'm bawling about it, but today is a good day. My kid is at school. My 3rd grader who loves school is at school, and she's going to play volleyball this afternoon. That's all I dreamed about.
Yeah.
All I dreamed about. Yeah. So God is giving me a gift, and I know that, and I want to share that with everybody I can. So when you feel a little grumpy today about your kids, when you're filling up their lunch pail and you're exhausted and all you want to do is just skip the bedtime story, you think of me. You think of Tiffany, and you think of Eleanor, and you be patient, and you say your prayers and with your kids, and you love on them, and you lay a little longer next to them at bed at night. That's what you do.
Yeah. It's a great place to end.
Yes. Thanks, Tiff. We love you so much.
Thanks, guys. Love you, Jose. I miss you. Hopefully see you soon.
We will see you.
Okay.
I will let you know when I'm in town. It will be soon.
Okay. That sounds good. Okay.
All right.
Bye,
Goodbye.
guys.
Bye.